God be with you. Star Wars has captivated popular culture since its first debut back in the 1970s, and it's continued to put out different shows and movies of varying quality. Andor, which just completed its second and last season, has undoubtedly marked itself as the best Star Wars production of all time. Andor is set during the tyranny of the Galactic Empire, and it navigates a complex set of characters trying to fight against this system, and many people today, especially on the left, compare it to what's happening in the United States under Donald Trump. Yeah, that's definitely sort of a cynical and extreme approach to things, but this definitely is having an impact on the culture. Many people feel that these times are filled with unease, with disorder, and I'd like to take a look at what does a real rebellion look like and how does morality affect a character when they're fighting against an evil? Where do the lines between terrorism and fighting for justice meet? And how can we fight against the evil of our world in a way that leaves us heroes, not villains? The church, of course, teaches that it's never justifiable to do evil for the sake of a good cause. And here's where the question lies with Andor, where you have many characters who make many evil decisions for the greater cause of destroying a tyrannical empire. I'm going to be sharing what we can learn from the character of Cassian in season one and how we can apply it to our lives as we fight for justice in our world today. Now, some people may be thinking, oh, what does a Catholic have to say about a show about Star Wars? How could this possibly be relevant to me? Well, I think it's very important for Catholics and other Christians to engage the culture. We can't simply hide from the culture or retreat from it when it disagrees with what we believe. No, we need to get down to it. We need to delve into it so that we can use it as a jumping point for evangelization. Many people cannot have a long philosophical discussion about good and evil, about philosophy, theology, but they can talk about the newest show that came out that they really enjoyed and what it meant to them, what it taught them. So this can be a really good and important point of evangelization, which is taking culture and turning it into a point for evangelization and spreading the holy gospel. Be warned, of course, there are going to be multiple spoilers for Andor season 1. I'd first like to look at the character of Cassian Andor himself. Now, there are many point of view characters from the show, and I considered doing other ones, but I want to start with just Cassian himself, who has a dramatic change from the start of season 1 to the end of season 1. Cassian starts on a rogue planet looking for his long lost sister until something goes horribly wrong when two corrupt corporate guards apprehend him in an alleyway, and a robbery gone wrong ends up with one of them dead, and Cassian murders the other one to cover up for the death of the first. This is kind of our first look at Cassian's character in the show, and we can already see one of his primary flaws. He's always willing to put himself and his own well-being over the well-being of other people and or any morality or any sort of good cause. While it's understandable that Cassian kills the other one to cover up for the death of the first, which was an accident, he does know that there will be no fair trial in this government and that they would throw him away without a second thought or any value of fairness. He understands this, and I think that this is where the morality gets kind of complicated. Is it justifiable to do evil in a system that rewards doing evil by virtue of the evil that you have to face by being a good person? Well, the church says no. It was, in fact, wrong what Cassian did. However, we can still look at him as a flawed character and not as inherently evil. He still is the hero of his own story and the story overall in the Star Wars universe. However, we can take a look at these things and say that no, actually, the heroes are not always right. We're all sinful human beings, and we can kind of understand that well, yes, he may be the good guy among these two criminal guards. He still did something inherently evil, which is murder. Cassian's earlier choice leads to disaster when a large security force comes to his hometown to arrest him. Andor narrowly escapes, but his actions lead to multiple deaths, and the Empire annexes the planet to maintain order. Andor's earlier decision escalates into an entire planet under the boot of the Empire, which isn't completely Andor's fault, but maybe you can see where I'm going with this. A lack of morality can have long-reaching consequences beyond just the one injustice, and Andor isn't the only one who's punished for that lack of morality, it's everyone else he knows. After escaping with Luthen, he joins the rebel plot on Aldhani, only for money, showing that his heart is still primarily set on selfishness. He meets a rebel on the team, Nemik, who challenges him to consider the truth of what the Empire is and what his role should be in defeating it. Here we see Andor's selfish ideology begin to crack. After the raid on Aldani, we see Cassian kill Arvel Skeen after he offers to steal the money and split it, possibly showing the beginning of Andor putting something above his own good. He even leaves with only his cut and leaving the rest for the rebellion. Andor isn't content on being a selfish mercenary. We see that here, and that's something the world needs to learn, that money alone will never satisfy you. Many people think that they will just be happy if they were richer, but in reality, only Jesus will bring us true happiness and peace. Andor returns home, but after his mother insists on staying on Ferrix to support the rebellion, he leaves to go to a paradise-like world and live like a hedonist. He ends up getting arrested for no reason and arbitrarily sentenced to 6 years in prison. This is a great analogy of how we can try to run from the inevitability of death by distracting ourselves with sin and worldly pleasures, only for it to catch up to us and take us by surprise. The Empire, representing death itself, will come for everyone, and no one can run from it. How do we stop death? Not from running, but through Jesus Christ, who himself conquered death. Andor is shipped off to Narkina 5, a brutal labor camp of a prison, where he realizes the immense cruelty of the Empire. He suffers in this prison until he realizes the haunting truth: no one gets out alive. When your sentence is over, you're moved to another prison to work until death. In my analogy, if the Empire is death, Narkina 5 is the process of dying. Andor and another inmate, Kino Loy, plan an escape, which succeeds. They chant one way out as they and all the other 5,000 prisoners escape from the prison complex. And just how Andor could only escape dying by facing it head-on in full honesty, so too must we face death with eyes open. It will happen. Death will come for us all. Death will come for us, but what happens afterwards is actually up to us as well. Will you wait for your time to be up, or will you choose the one way out? After Andor's escape, he calls home, only to find out that his mother passed away. After returning home to his mother's funeral, he accepts that he won't be satisfied or safe running. Only through fighting for justice against the Empire will he feel true freedom. And that is exactly what Christians today need to do. We don't merely need to survive in this world. We need to actually change it. The way that we change the world is by expanding the kingdom of God through evangelization, by being missionaries, bringing others to the truth, and changing laws to protect the rights and dignity of all human beings. Ultimately, our war isn't with a government. It's with a spiritual being. Like Andor escaped the Empire and chose to fight, we have escaped sin and death through Jesus Christ, and we need to join the real rebellion. This isn't a rebellion against the governments of this world or a culture war. No, it's more than that. It's rebellion against a spiritual being called Satan. The real rebellion is against Satan himself, who controls the world from the shadows. Cassian's mother said this in her eulogy speech.
I've been sleeping. I've been turning away from a truth I wanted not to face. There is a wound that won't heal at the center of the galaxy. There is a darkness reaching like rust into everything around us. We let it grow, and now it's here. It's here, and it's not visiting anymore. It wants to stay. The Empire is a disease that thrives in darkness. It is never more alive than when we sleep. It's easy for the dead to tell you to fight. And maybe it's true. Maybe fighting's useless. Perhaps it's too late. But I'll tell you this. If I could do it again, I'd wake up early and be fighting these bastards from the start. Fight the Empire!
Just like the Empire thrives in darkness, So Satan thrives in darkness. He is never more powerful than when we ignore him. Sin is never more powerful than when it isn't acknowledged or when it's acknowledged as a good thing rather than evil. Wake up every day with the intention of spreading God's kingdom in every action, big or small. Let's learn from Cassian. Let's be rebels in the true rebellion. Not a rebellion against an empire, against a state, against a king, a monarch, a president, but against the evil one who rules the world in darkness. Season 2 of Andor shows what Cassian sacrifices for the rebellion. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to make a part 2 covering Andor in Season 2, or if you'd like me to cover any of the other characters from the series. Goodbye and God bless you.